Between the start of the Cold War and the widespread adoption of the Internet, the global map was redrawn dozens of times. Yet, through 70 years of continuous global upheaval, Thailand experienced a singular, unbroken constant at its helm, King Bhumibol Adulyadej. His story actually begins on the other side of the globe. Born in 1927 at Mount Auburn Hospital in Massachusetts, while his father studied medicine at Harvard, the future king's earliest environments were steeped in Western science, medicine, and empirical problem-solving. He was never expected to take the throne. He was quietly studying science in Switzerland until a sudden tragedy in 1946 placed the crown on his head. Overnight, an 18-year-old student became King Rama IX. Shortly after, he had to return to Europe to finish his education. As his car drove away from the palace, a voice from the gathered crowd shouted out, "Don't abandon the people." The young king later wrote that in that exact moment, he made a quiet promise to himself. He would return and not leave them behind. 4 years later, he made that promise official. At his 1950 coronation, his first royal command was to reign with righteousness for the benefit and happiness of the Siamese people. That oath anchored his lifelong mission to physically construct a better nation. If you picture a monarch, you likely imagine someone confined to a palace, receiving reports from advisors. King Bhumibol rejected that model entirely. He spent decades hiking into Thailand's most austere jungles, mountains, and remote villages to analyze the terrain for himself. His royal regalia consistently included 3 items: a heavily annotated map, a radio, and a camera. He used these tools to gather raw, unfiltered topographical data, speaking directly with local farmers about their soil conditions and water supply. By mapping the exact realities of the landscape in person, he initiated over 4,000 distinct royal projects. Each one was a specific engineering or agricultural intervention tailored to solve an isolated local crisis. He acted as his own lead surveyor. By gathering the facts on the ground, he bypassed bureaucratic delays and ensured that solutions were deployed exactly where they were needed. One of the most severe challenges he encountered was highly acidic earth, locally known as sour soil. Large tracts of land across the country were completely dead, unable to support even basic crops. This diagram illustrates his solution, a methodology he developed called Klaeng, which translates to trick the soil. The strategy involved intentionally flooding the land and then draining it dry. This artificial cycle accelerated the chemical reactions in the earth, forcing the acidity levels to their absolute peak. Once the soil was as toxic as possible, he introduced alkaline materials like limestone. The resulting chemical reaction neutralized the hyperacidic earth, transforming barren wastelands into fertile, farmable plots. He applied that same mechanical mindset to the national water crisis. Facing severe urban and agricultural wastewater issues, he invented and patented the Chaipattana Aerator. It's a low-cost, highly efficient paddle wheel machine designed to pull oxygen into stagnant water to actively treat pollution. Above ground, he tackled regional droughts by initiating the Royal Rainmaking project. This involved deploying aircraft to release specific chemicals into the atmosphere, a process known as cloud seeding, to artificially induce rainfall over parched farmlands. From treating the dirt to pulling water from the sky, these individual patents and agricultural frameworks interlocked. Together, these interventions established a self-sustaining environmental framework across the entire country. In the mountainous northern highlands, the challenges were socio-economic as well as geographical. Isolated hill tribes faced extreme poverty and rapid deforestation, surviving largely by cultivating illicit opium. The king addressed this through economics. Through targeted royal projects in areas like Mae Tho and Mon Go, he introduced cold climate cash crops, like strawberries, peaches, and coffee. He provided the seeds, the training, and the logistical support so that farmers could transition away from opium to legal, highly profitable harvests. The infrastructure built to transport these new crops served a vital secondary purpose. The king used those same supply lines to deploy royal medical units, bringing free doctors, nurses, and essential healthcare to remote populations for the very first time. By replacing a black market economy with sustainable agriculture and treating diseases that had ravaged isolated villages, He stabilized vulnerable regions through economic empowerment and public health rather than military force. Over the decades, what began as localized, pragmatic fixes evolved into comprehensive models for sustainable development recognized around the globe. His empirical work earned him multiple patents from the World Intellectual Property Organization, and in 2006, the United Nations awarded him their first-ever Human Development Lifetime Achievement Award. When King Bhumibol passed away on October 13, 2016, the scale of national mourning was massive. Millions took to the streets in black. This profound grief reflected a deeply personal connection to a man who had spent 70 years working the soil to feed them. In the Thai language, his name, Bhumibol, translates literally to strength of the land. Through 70 years of engineering, research, and relentless fieldwork, he lived up to that name. King Rama IX proved that sovereign power is earned through a lifelong dedication to the scientific and economic elevation of the people. Thank you for watching our presentation today.